Hello everybody, welcome to Ian's Bricks. I'm here with my friend Duncan and we're going to talk about a video that we did last year where we talked about our top 5 Lego retirement sets. These are sets that were due to retire at the end of 2024. So we're going to take a look back at the list and see how we basically did and see how those predictions, what sort of happened and whether they've gone up in value, whether they've gone down in value, whether we were right, whether we were wrong. So what we both did, so we did a top 5 of the top 5 sets that we thought were going to do the best after retirement. We also sort of did a dark horse set as well, where we sort of picked an unusual set that we weren't quite sure how that was going to do. We'll talk about the sets that we had most of at the time, when I think we recorded the video sometime in early September of 2024, so just around about a year ago, and the sets to avoid as well. So what we'll do is we'll go in, we'll do Duncan's list top 5 first of all in reverse order. So number 5 on your list of best sets to buy that were retiring at the end of 24 was a set that actually didn't end up retiring, which was the Eve and Wall-E Brickhead. 40619 is the set number. They're £13.49 here in the UK. That has now been pushed back all the way to 2026.
Which I'm surprised, since there's a new set coming out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they were just so popular that this is why Lego sometimes will do this. And again, so early September, they were on the retirement list, and I think it was sometime in October, November. Suddenly they just appeared on the retirement list, and this is what can happen when you invest in Lego. This thing can happen. You've got no control over it whatsoever. So at the time, yes, I think that would have been a good call if it had retired, but it didn't. So that was the first one. So number 4 on Duncan's list was a Harry Potter set, the Battle of Hogwarts, 76415. So that was a set that had a recommended retail price of £75. I've had a look on eBay and eBay sell prices to see what that set is now going for. It's actually going for a little bit less than recommended retail, around about £70. However, this was a set that you could get reduced at the time. So I think at the time you had bought a few for around about £40ish, was it?
Maybe 45, but
yeah, 40 to 45, and you can sell them for 70. So that isn't actually that bad. It's quite a nice set, and I think of all the Harry Potter sets, that's not too bad for a Harry Potter set based on your buy-in price.
Yeah, it's no Grimmauld Place.
No, it's not 12 Grimmauld Place, but you know they're not going to come along too often. But certainly, I don't think it's too bad. Next on your list, which is one that has done very, very well, is the Ideas The Office, 21336. This is a set that was available. Recommended retail price was £105. I think we were picking these up for always under 100, wasn't it? Certainly, John Lewis had them at 85. I think maybe we even got a few for sort of less than £70. So there were lots of different prices flying around at the time. Now this set, believe it or not, is going for anywhere between £130 to £140, and it did surprise me a little bit. I wasn't too sure whether that would be a good one. Instead of all of sort of Duncan's list, I was like, I'm not sure that'll do well, because I was never quite sure how well The Office would do in the UK, because it's not a show that's regularly on terrestrial TV. I think it's probably on one of the. It's not on Netflix, is it?
I think it's on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't just quite sure how that would do, but that has done very, very well. And again, even if you bought it at recommended retail price 105, even after less than a year, don't forget we're only at end of August, early September. For going 130 to 140 pounds. That's not a bad increase on a set, and I say if you got them like we did some of ours at sort of 70ish pounds, then you're almost doubling your money on some of those. So that is a set. That's a good call for Duncan. I think it's a little star for Duncan for that one, because that has done very, very well.
I think I even kept ones with slightly damaged boxes without sending them back, because I thought they would cheap enough and do well.
Yeah. Again, John Lewis can be a bit funny sometimes with their post and packing, so I think I got a couple of creases on. But yeah, I think the sets will do well. A lot of minifigures in those as well, weren't they? They had literally the entire cast, so it had a really big cast. So the next one on Duncan list is also another one that's done very, very well. And it is the Creator 3-in-1 Pink Parrot, set number 31140. This has a recommended retail price of £20. Short shelf life on that one, wasn't it? Only a year and a bit, something like that. I've been selling those myself at shows for around about over £30. So they generally go on eBay. eBay sold prices for just over £30. I've been selling for around about 32. I think we picked quite a lot of ours up for £15 or £16,
Two
wasn't
for
it?
I think it was lots of 2 for 30.
Yeah, something like that. So again, it's a good call. It's a set that's almost doubled in price from what we paid for them. The prices I'm quoting, by the way, what I've done is I've generally looked at either eBay sold prices or what we will sell them for at Lego shows if we sell them at Lego shows. I know you can probably sell them on places like Amazon at higher prices, and there is always a variation in prices even on eBay of what things sell for. And I've sort of tried to sort of see the average and average sort of Joe blogs, if you were selling on eBay, what you would sell them for, because a lot of people don't have Amazon accounts to sell on. So that's where I'm coming up with some of these prices for. But definitely the Pink Parrot is another great success, and again, after less than a year of retirement, that has done very, very well indeed for a relatively small set, and is one that I liked as well and bought quite a few of. Now, number one on Duncan's list last year, there's one I was a little bit shocked about, and it was set 75365, and that's the Star Wars Yavin 4 Rebel Base, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Now, that had a recommended retail price of £150, and at the moment they're selling for, I think you can, on eBay it's about 100. I've sold a couple at shows for I think 110.
Yeah, same.
So you can sell them for more than 100. Now that sounds dreadful, and you're thinking, oh, Duncan's got that completely wrong. Well, it's not really, because we again picked a lot of ours up for, I think they were around about £90.
Yeah,
we bought a lot for £90. So yeah, not the greatest of increases. I think the Office and the Pink Parrot have certainly done better, but certainly there's profit there if you were able to buy them at the £90, which is what we got most of ours for. Was it Very were doing them for that, and Argos were doing, Amazon were doing for that.
Matched,
Quite a few were price matching, so you could regularly get it for £90. I think if you paid £150 for it, I think it was said at the time, don't buy them at £150 because they won't be worth that. But you can at least make your money, a little bit of money back on these. I think hold these for another couple of years.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these are all worth next year. So
I think so. Some 9 months is not very long for a set to appreciate in value, so bear that in mind as well. Not every Lego set is going to go stratospheric after just a year. So the fact that it has already sort of increased from the prices that we paid for them is good. That was probably always going to happen though. A set that had a recommended retail of £150, that was quite high to start with. Again, Lego Star Wars tax sets are always going to be more expensive. So I think overall you've done pretty well. We had one set that's not retiring. You couldn't foresee that. You didn't know that was going to happen. We've got two sort of not so great but done okay based on what we paid for, and two very, very good sets as well. So I think out of all of those, I think the list of your top five is pretty good. My top five, similar kind of thing really. I think probably Duncan's has probably done a little bit better. Number 5 on my list, which is probably the one that's done the best out of all of them, 76223, the Marvel Nano Gauntlet. It's the red hand, if you remember which set that is. So that was a set that had a recommended retail price for £60. It was an Amazon exclusive, I think, and I think I did pick a few of these up for £50. They were a little bit tight, Amazon, last year with deals on that particular set. So I did get a lot of them for £50. They are currently going for around about 90 to 100. So the ones that I bought for 50, I've almost doubled my money on those. And I did buy a few of these. I think I got about 7 or 8 of them in total. Not trying to sell any of them on yet, because I think this is a set that will continue to grow in price, because I don't think there's that many of them about. People weren't really aware of it at the time. So I think out of all of my top 5, that's the one that's done the best. I'll go through the rest of them though. Number 4 on my list was the A-frame cabin, 21338. That was £160 to buy. Again, they're kind of still selling for that. They've really not increased in value, and I'm a little bit surprised about that. Why do you think they've not really gone up in value, those particular sets?
I think there's a lot more people getting into investing in it at a price point, and it looks nice, and it was one of everyone's favourites. It looks good.
It is a really great looking set.
And everyone thought it would make money.
I think sometimes these sets get a little bit lost as well, because there's so many amazing Lego sets that come out and retire. If you get a set that looks pretty good, but maybe the genre, people have got to have city builds or forest builds, are they going to buy that particular set? I really thought it would do a lot better than it has. The only saving grace for me is I did buy quite a few of them for a little bit less than 160. I think I got a lot of them for about 140, 150 when I was using insider points and things like that. So they have at least sort of held their own. They've not gone down in value, but no real great increases there. Probably another one I'm going to need to hang on a little bit longer for. Next on my list, and again I probably picked the wrong one for this, but I picked the Brickhead Miles Tails Prower from Sonic the Hedgehog 40628. They were £9.99 and they're going for about 15, so they have actually increased in value, 14 to £15. Not a great amount of money, but percentage wise that's actually not too bad. Did you buy many of the Brickheads, the Sonic the Hedgehog ones, or...?
A few of each. Again, generally, if you've got to make your money up to a gift with purchase. So, I don't go in and buy as many as you buy, but I've got a few of them, I think. I was really surprised with your number 5, the Nano Gauntlet, to go back to that. That I found a couple in my loft.
Nice.
I literally didn't know that I'd got them.
Oh, it's always nice when you find them.
I actually sold one for £100
there you go.
in Exeter.
Fantastic, yeah. So again, the Nano Gauntlet is very, very good. The Brickheads, and what was interesting, well, the reason I said I picked the wrong one is because the other two Sonic the Hedgehog Brickheads, one was Sonic itself, and the other one was Knuckles and Shadow. They both done very, very well. The Shadow and Knuckles, they were £18, and I've been selling those at brick shows for £32. So they've done very, very well. And I think even the Sonic the Hedgehogs go for a little bit more than the Tails one. So I think out of all the three of them, I kind of picked the wrong one there, but it's still done okay, so I'm not too ashamed with that one. Next on my list, again, another set that's not done great. It's the Mercedes Speed Champions Double Pack, set 76909. These were £40. These were sets that you could really only get from Lego, and I think they were available somewhere else for a short time, but not very often. Again, I can sell these at shows for about £45, so a very, very small profit, but not quite what I expected these to do. And I think the problem was I liked the sets because they had one of the cars was a Formula 1 car. Of course, what did Lego do? They released loads of Formula 1 cars, so that's one of those things. Did you buy many of those, or...?
No, I've as we said last year, I've got a lot of Lamborghinis and I've got a lot of James Bond Aston Martins, which are doing okay.
They're doing all right.
But I'm not the biggest fan of cars.
Yeah,
a bit like you feel with Star Wars.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit saturated, and there's a lot of them, and it's hit or miss when you find one like James Bond that is going to make a bit of.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, maybe didn't quite go as well as I thought. And the final one on my list, and I think I always said, even if you look at the last video that we did last year about this, I did say this might take a little bit longer to increase in value, but 75290, and it was the Mos Eisley Cantina from Star Wars. So I did go for a Star Wars set last year. Now they were £345. Quite often, it was the recommended retail price, but quite often we were able to get those for well under 300.
260, I think.
260, I think, was a good price for those. Maybe 270, 280. I maybe picked a few of those up at. Now, at the moment, they're going for around about £300 on eBay. I know I've sold one or two at shows for £320. They're not always the quickest sellers, but I think people are always willing to buy them. Yeah. So at the moment, they are still going for less than the recommended retail price. But again, one of those sets that if you bought at the right price back in the day, you are actually finally making a profit on those. I mean, it's a set that you quite like as well, being a Star Wars fan.
Oh, I love the set and the minifigures in it. I think it's just one of those, it's the size of it, like the Orient Express, how many can you hold, for an amount of time for it to make it.
Yeah, I think these
sets need to be held for 5 years.
Yeah, they can, yeah. I think a good example of that is the older Death Star that they retired about 3 or 4 years ago. I forget the set number, but it was the actual round Death Star, the last one that they did, and that didn't go up in value much after. It took a couple of years, and then suddenly it's gone absolutely stratospheric after about 4 or 5 years after it retired. So I think some of these larger sets do take a little bit longer to do very, very well after they retire. But I think overall, I would have to say that out of the two of us, I think your best one. It's the Parrot. I suppose the Parrot percentage-wise is the best one. I think of actual money based on what you bought them for, probably the Office is going to make you the most money. Mine's obviously the Nano Gauntlet. So there were definitely some winners in there, a couple of not so good ones. Luckily, I don't think any of the sets have actually gone down in price below what we actually paid for them. So yeah, there's a couple of sets there which are less than RRP, but certainly what we paid for them, they are at least all in profit by the look of it. So I think we've done okay. So maybe this year we can do better. So we talked about some other sets as well. We had a Dark Horse each, sets that we thought could do well, but we weren't too sure. So mine was not a very good one, and it was the Ideas Globe, set 21332. They were £100 £199.99, so £200. You could get them discounted though, couldn't you? 150. So not bad. I ended up not buying any of these because I think I talked about it in the video, and I don't think after that they were ever reduced again. I think they were very, very difficult to get hold of at a reduced level after September, and so I ended up not buying any of these. You bought a couple of them though, didn't you?
I bought 4 of them at 150. And I've sold them all at 180.
Yeah, so very small profits on those. Again, they're selling between 180 and 200. They're not really sold more than what the recommended retail price is. So again, it was a dark horse. It was one I wasn't sure about. But yeah, it hasn't really done as well as I thought it would. Previous years there was the map that they did, and that went absolutely crazy after it retired for some reason. It's not a set that I never saw that one coming at all, but that did very, very well. I was kind of basing it a little bit on that, thinking the Globe would do a similar thing, but it just hasn't.
Yeah.
Yours has done a little bit better. You picked a small set, 75370. It was the Stormtrooper mech. They were £12.99. I think you could regularly get those sets for between £8 and £10, weren't they? They were very easy to get, less than £10. They're going anywhere between £10 and £15. So again, small increases, a small set, small increases. But you said, didn't you, that you wish you'd pick the Darth Vader.
Yeah, the Darth Vader one's been more popular.
It has been more popular, surprisingly. There's another one that they did as well, which is the Boba Fett, which hasn't done very well for some reason.
No, that seems to
But the Darth Vader one's going for around about 18 to 20. So if you're able to pick any of those up for sort of £9-10, you've pretty much doubled your money on those if you've got any of those. I think we've both got some of those somewhere, haven't we?
I've got quite a few of them as well, yeah.
So that's fine. I think you were just trying to pick at the time which was going to be the best one, and you picked the wrong one. A bit like me with the Miles Tails Prow, I picked the wrong brickhead, but yeah.
I really thought people would want Stormtroopers, to build an army of Stormtroopers. There's only one Darth Vader. You only get one Darth Vader.
But again, give it time. These things are only, it's less than 9 months since he's actually retired, so give it a little bit longer, they could do okay.
Yeah.
So, sets we had most of. So the sets I had most of last year was an odd set for me, 42136, the John Deere Technic. This is a set that had a recommended retail price of £25, but I think earlier on in the year in 2024, I think it was Argos that were doing 2 for 30. They were basically £15 each for a £25 set, and I bought loads of them, and a lot of them I got for free as well, because I was using my inside my points that I was getting from Top Cashback and Quidco, and I was cashing those in to do Amazon vouchers, so I did get a lot of them free. Now I have been selling these at shows this year, and they're going for around about £28, so not much more than the recommended retail price, but of course I bought so many of them at either little to no money that I'm actually making some decent profit on those quite quickly. Duncan went, the one that he had most of was the Speed Champion 76908, the Lamborghini Countach, is it called?
Countach,
yeah, I can never pronounce on some of the cars. So that had a recommended retail price of £20, but I think you bought most of yours a lot cheaper than that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I was getting them for £10 to £12.
Yeah, they're definitely worth £12.99 quite a lot of the time. Certainly under £15 was the buy. They're going for £22 to £24 at shows. I've got a few of them as well. I don't think you're losing money on any of those. I mean, they're certainly making a little bit of money. The fact you bought a lot of them is because obviously they were discounted. They're easy, the smaller sets, they're easy to store, easy to get hold of in quantity as well, because it was Amazon and loads of other places. So I can see why you bought a lot of those. So
they're a great set to take to a show. I take a couple every show and I sell them every show.
Yeah. And then we had our sets to avoid, and were we right to avoid these? So I said the set to avoid for me last year was the BTS Dynamite set 21339. It was a set that was £90. I think even Lego.com at one stage reduced it to, I think it was 63 just before it sold out. At the moment they're going anywhere between £60 and £65 on eBay. So they are selling, people are buying them, but they're way, way below what the recommended retail price is. And even if you bought them at the sale price that Lego had them, you're not even making your money back virtually for that. So I think I was pretty much correct in saying to avoid that set. I think my reasons at the time was it's just an odd thing to do. I'm aware there's a big fan base, but are many of them Lego fans? And also the band have broken up, and they're probably not going to get back together. A bit like One Direction, really. They said they broke up and then they kind of split anyway. So yeah, it's just an odd one, and it's one that I didn't think would do well, and I've been proved right. It hasn't done very well. Did you buy any of those last last year? No,
absolutely not. No. I didn't even know they were a band.
Exactly. I do know the song actually, Dynamite, but I won't sing it for you. I'll spare you that. But so one that Duncan went for was to avoid was 10306, the Atari 2600. So this was a set that had a recommended retail price of £210. Ouch. They are currently selling for around about 180 on eBay. So they are selling. Did you buy any of those at all or not?
I think I maybe did get one.
So I have to say not to buy.
I think I maybe did have one because I think they were around about 140.
There were some really good discounts. Now, I bought one of them and I had to have a quick look at my spreadsheet as to what I paid for it. I ended up paying £126 for it. I can't remember where it was from now, but it was.
I think from memory, I got it for 140. You had a 10% discount.
Yeah, maybe Lego did have them reduced at one stage, didn't they? So maybe I got it from Lego.com.
So there's something.
And then used Insider Points. So I mean, to be fair, Duncan was pretty right. Don't buy them. 210 selling for 180, so it's not even close to recommended retail price at the moment. But the fact that I bought mine for £126 means I could actually make a tidy little bit of profit in a short space of time. Again, I think give that one time, it could do a little bit better over a longer period of time. But yeah, glad I bought it at 126 and didn't buy any at full price. Not a particularly bad looking set. I just didn't think there was much of a lot of Legos are really tapping into the retro market, but Atari was very niche, I thought, for a retro market. It's not as popular as, say, like a Sega Genesis or Mega Drive or the Nintendo NES or Mario, all that kind of stuff. It just didn't have that quite so niche factor, I think, as some of the other sets. So, how do you think we did overall last year? Do you think we did all right?
I think The Apprentice done better than The Master, but what do you think?
I think you're probably right. Again, it's a guessing game, and we do a lot of Lego investing and buying and hope we're picking the right sets, and all we can do is sort of share our thoughts and opinions of how we think things will do. We're not mind readers, we haven't got crystal balls, and sometimes things don't always work out, but I'm glad that both of us at least picked a few half-decent sets there that have actually done pretty well since they retired. So I don't think we did too bad. I think we'll give ourselves a B+. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think. As long as you're having fun. Always have fun. Yeah,
we do enjoy. I say one of the things, we buy a lot of Lego. It's great. It's very, very easy to buy a lot of Lego, but then you've got to think how you're going to sell them on as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk.
We go to shows and things. We really enjoy going to the shows, and it's just part of part of what we do. So we do enjoy the whole thing as well. And we both have jobs. We both have other things as well. It's not our full-time thing to do. So we do have that as a backup as well. So if you are sort of Lego investing, just be careful. Don't spend what you don't have. Only buy what you can afford. And if you sort of enjoy it or see it all as a bit of fun, I think you get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But that is pretty much it. We'll probably do similar videos like this, looking back at any other lists that we talk about in the past. I hope you enjoy this sort of look back at what we talked about last year. It's always interesting to see how some of these sets are doing, actually, because some of them haven't even looked at before as to how they've been doing on the aftermarket. So nice to see that some of them are doing okay. That's pretty much it for now then. I think we'll say your goodbyes. Thank you very, very much for watching.
Thank you.
Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.